The City Outskirts Tournament Expert Division Weekend Round Hole number 3. Here we're going to be blasting an APOC down into Thorn range using a Zerk. The shot is APOC 5 plus Thorn 8 plus. The adjustment for the drive is P5 plus 10% max. You're going to need to push up after your adjustment. Spin set is 6 top, 2 left. We're playing a full overpower and left curl so that the right side of the ball is touching the outside of the shot circle. So at P5 max extension, we're going to have the bullseye splitting the rough line, like you've seen there. Always 6 top, 2 left. Going to adjust this one. Now, even though there's a bush in the way, I've always been able to pull my adjustment, but if that's a problem for you, you may want to push this. But adjust P5 plus 10% max, and you're going to push up as follows. So if you pull down to the plus 5 or lower, you'll push up 10 plus yards. If you pull down to the plus, between the plus 6 and the plus 8, you'll push up 12 plus yards. If you pull down to the plus 9 to the plus 15, then you'll push up 14 plus yards. And then anything plus 16 or more or higher, you're going to push to max. All right. There's a couple of things to note here because we're seeing such varying wind changes along with the wind strengths that that we get with the Zerk. You can end up, and then you got great left and great right on the drive, so that all changes where your drive goes. And because we're landing on a hillside, it's also gonna change the way the approach shot plays. So you'll need to pay attention to where your ball lands in relation to the fairway. And what I mean by that is, so this is for the approach shot now. What we're looking at is basically we're going to divide this. So you're going to be, in this general vicinity right here, right? If you're in this area, you need to play it P4 plus 20% at slider. If you're in this area, you play it P5 plus 20% at slider. Probably a little bit big there with that. Let's see, something like that. And then if you're over here to the left, then you need to play it P5 plus 25% at slider because we're further up the hill. This thing slopes up this way, right? So the further left you are, the more elevation it requires. The further right you are, the less elevation it requires. Okay, so that's one thing to note. Basically, what I'm doing is based on where I'm at in relation to, the rough over here to the right. If I'm close to the rough on the right, then I play it P4 plus 20. If I'm somewhere in the middle, I'm going to play it P5 plus 20. And if I'm over here to the left, I'm going to play it P5 plus 25. So basically, if you hit great right on the drive, it plays P4 plus 20. If you hit great left on the drive, it plays P5 plus 25. However, it's not just greats that can cause that to happen. As you're going to see, this drive ends up over here to the right, and I hit perfect on it, but it's just because of the wind angle and wind strength, I end up on the right side of the fairway. All right, I clip the rough, I roll through the rough on the corner, and I end up close to the rough. Because I'm close to that rough, the shot would generally play P4 plus 20. However, there's one other caveat to this. If and those adjustments work for anything between 0 and 14 rings for men, right? So if you're under 15 rings on your slider, then you're good. You don't need to make any additional tweaks. If you get a short rollout and you're 15 or more rings from men, you're going to get more wind push and you're going to need to add to your adjustment. So anything 15 plus rings for men, winds in the 9s will add 0.1, winds in the 10s will add 0.2, and winds in the 11s will add 0.3 to the adjustment. All right, so as you can see here, I am close to the rough on the right, and that was with a perfect, so it's not just for great rights. 3.5 backspin only and always. Count rings for men. Here I'm going to be 21 rings for men. And I'm going to play at 21 slider. I'm going to play P4 plus 20 at 21 slider. However, I'm over 15 rings for men, and my wins are in the 10s. So I need to add 0.2 to my adjustment, right? So it's P4 plus 20% at 21 slider plus 0.2. If my wins were in the 9s, I would add 0.1. If my wins were in the 11s, I would add 0.3. If your winds are between 9, 4, and 10 mile an hour, you want to aim center cup. Between 10.1 and 11, you're going to aim right center of the cup. And 11.1 plus, you'll aim at the right edge of the cup. With spin added, you want to have the tip of the ball guide touching or just barely through the back of the cup. Right? So it sounds like a lot, and it is somewhat complicated, but this is what you need to do in order to get consistency out of the drop, right? It's just because of the way this wind angle is and the way this shot plays and where we're landing on the side of the slope, it messes with the approach shot quite a bit, right? And so if you're not paying attention to where you land, how deep you are into your club, what your wind strength is, then there's a good chance you're gonna burn an edge or miss the shot. It's a time-consuming shot. I definitely recommend you practice this one a couple of times. It is a good shot that's very droppable. There's kind of a fair amount of stuff that you need to pay attention to. So P5 plus 20 is the base. 3.5 backspin only is the base. We're never changing the spins. If you're on the left side of the fairway up the hill, play P5 25 at slider. If you're in the middle of the fairway, it plays P5 20 at slider. If you're on the right side of the fairway, it plays P4 20 at slider. If you're over 15 rings or more, add 0.1 for wins in the 9s, 0.2 for wins in the 10s, 0.3 for wins in the 11s. Right? Also, you need to offset according to wind strength. 9.4 to 10, center cup. 10.1 to 11 is right center, and 11.1 plus is right edge. Once you get comfortable with it, it's not that bad, but it might take you a couple of tries just to get used to all of what you need to look for on this one. But if you can do it, pull straight and hit perfect, you have a really good shot at walking away from this hole with an eagle. right? So, wish you the best of luck. Hope you get the drop. We'll catch you on the next one.